Hey, what is going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrisman. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we're talking about today is how to pass your real estate exam in 2021. Now, spoiler alert, there's really not too much that is different, although there is a difference this year that wasn't really available before. Something recently became available with the state exam. So aside from that minor part, the overall process is the same. The way you go about studying for this exam is exactly the same. So if you've already watched any of our videos before on the pass first try strategy or how to study for your real estate exam, this isn't going to be any new information for you really here, but maybe it's a good refresher if you're still trying to get through and pass your real estate exam. So what we're going to be talking about is how to make this process as simple, easy, efficient as possible. One of our core values here at the Tampa School of Real Estate is to keep it simple because, look, this is already a complicated process enough. So any way we can make this simpler, easier, better to understand, you're going to move through this a lot quicker, and that includes even just how you go about studying for your exams, so that way you can pass them on your first try. So I'm John Carismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Carismo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate every Wednesday. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already so you get notifications whenever we've got new content to help you better understand the real estate industry. And we're talking about a topic today that a lot of new agents, or aspiring new agents, I should say, struggle with, and that's passing the real estate exam. So I was just reviewing the statistics. Matter of fact, let me pull up the email I got from the DBPR. So every month the DBPR sends me an email. They send me an email report of the entire state of what the exam results were. So here's the stats for you guys. And so one of the things that I did mention that is a little bit different now that wasn't, it actually rolled out at the end of last year, I think about August of last year is when they started offering online testing for the state exam. Now you might wonder, how different is taking the exam online? And this is really what the big difference is here. So we'll cover these differences, and if you're here to learn about how to study to pass this exam, stay tuned, because once we cover these stats and the differences with your online version of the state exam, just in case you want to take it that way, we're going to dive right into the pass first try strategy and the 4 simple steps we recommend to get you to pass your class and state exams on the first try. But all that being said, so again, there's 2 options. You could do in person for your state exam, or you could do now online. And like I said, that was the new revolutionary thing that started happening last year. They never allowed you to take the state exam online before. You'd always have to go into one of the testing centers. But now, they allow you to take that exam online. And that's really great news as well for those of you coming from outside of Florida. Now, there have always been the testing centers throughout the country, but even in Florida, these always aren't convenient to get to, let alone the rest of the country if you're trying to get a Florida real estate license with the Florida real estate exam. So that online option might be a great choice for you. But let's see, do more people pass it when they take it online or when they take it in person? So let's look at the entire year. I've got the stats pulled up for the entire year of pass rates for in-person versus online state exams. Now, this doesn't reference the actual course, but how it is that you're going about taking the exam. So for the standard test center, the in-person testing for the Florida Sales Associate license, out of first-time test takers, there was a 53% pass rate. The online was only a 47% pass rate. So is there a difference? Yes. But is this significant enough where I think you should use this to make a decision of which one of these two? Absolutely not. I would not use this as a basis of which one of these two options you use. And there actually is overall the total of the combined number, overall combined, the overall pass rate for regardless of how you take it for first-time test takers was 51%. And that's what we always really say is the typical average for pass rates for the state exam is about 50%. Whether it's engineered to be 50%, all my conspiracy theorists with your tinfoil hats out there, I'll adjust mine for you as well. Whether or not they're keeping us at this 50%, or that's just how it ends up being, or that's the target of them adjusting the questions. Whatever the case may be, that's usually what the pass rate is. Now, again, looking at in-person versus online here, yes, this is a little bit higher. But that might just be because this is a lot more convenient. This is a lot more convenient, whereas this, so during 2020, if you wanted to take the state exam, you were waiting probably weeks, if not even longer, to get an appointment to take the state exam, especially before they started offering this online system. If you were trying to take your exam back of like summer last year or late spring, you knew taking this in-person exam, you might be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's sometimes even where it might be a month or two out for you getting an appointment. So I would imagine the people with these more limited appointments that they had to fight to get, and they're not going to get another one for weeks or months, maybe they took this a little bit more seriously than when you could do this online and schedule another appointment. Now, that might not be all there is, because there are some strings attached with the online. If you're a particular person and you don't like computers, really either of those two, I probably wouldn't recommend the online. Why? Well, because with the online exam, you do have to use their built-in calculator built into the system. You do also have to use their built-in scratch paper. You can't use your own physical scratch paper. You can't have anything on your desk, and they watch you through a webcam with this online version of the state exam. So if you're okay with that, if you're comfortable with the computer-based calculator and the computer-based scratch paper, then yeah, I would say consider this option, because you could probably get an appointment a lot faster. They cost the same, whichever option it is that you got to do, but either or, you do have to schedule an appointment. Even this one, because it's proctored, because they actually, you have to allow them access to your webcam so they could watch you take the exam. And you can't leave the room, you can't take any breaks or anything like that. They physically have to watch you there in front of the computer to make sure that you're not anyway compromising the exam. If that stresses you out, well, this is also a stressful environment where you're being watched and so on and so forth, but you are allowed to use your own calculator. You are allowed to use your own, well, not your own scratch paper, but scratch paper that they provide to you. So it's really just whatever you're more comfortable with. But at the same time, this is going to take a lot longer to get an appointment than this option. So both of them, you can pass. I really don't care who you are. Even if this isn't the best option for you, you absolutely can pass this exam. Even if you didn't use that calculator, even if you didn't do every single math question, because there's only 10 of them, you could still get a 90% taking that online one. You never have to even use that online calculator. And that's really the same thing for your physical calculators for this in-person exam as well. So either option, you can pass. Yes, there's a slight difference in statistics, but I would not call this significant to where I would say, oh, definitely don't take this one, only take it in person. No. This, you get an appointment a lot sooner. If you get an appointment sooner, you might not study and focus as much, and when that happens, you might not end up with this word right here on your report, which means that you're not part of that 47%, but that's okay. You get back in there, you take it again. If we look at the repeat testers, let's see how the repeat testers did. Repeat testers for the in-person, so they actually give me separate numbers versus if you take it in person versus online. And this isn't exclusively for Tampa School of Real Estate. This is statewide. They don't give us results by school. Some other states do that, which is really interesting to see that. But in Florida, they keep all that confidential, so they only give us the generic statewide information for all of this here. Because I would put money on it that we have a higher pass rate than that, but we'll never know until the state declassifies that information for us. But yeah, pass rate on in-person is 32% for repeat test takers. So if you're going into this with the idea, oh, I'll just keep taking the exam until I pass, your best shot at passing this is the first time you take it. Going by the odds and the statistics, your best chance of passing it is the first time around. Why? Well, every time, and part of this is if you're studying, if that's really the secret here. That's the one secret to all of this, is study the information. You study the information, you could pass these exams. But if you don't study the information and you don't pass this, and then you make it around to take the exam a second time, a third time, a fourth time, those people fare a lot worse. This is a perfect example of, if you study, you'll probably pass it the first time around, because this is first-time test takers. Repeat test takers, 32%. About 1/3, only 1/3. It goes from half the people passing to 1/3 of the people passing. So the 1/3 of the people that are passing here, they're getting their act together. They're realizing, oh, I do have to study. I do have to focus. I can't just fake it till I make it through this here. And then they make it around to actually passing. And look, don't let these numbers scare you. If you study, you'll pass. You'll probably end up right here passing on your first try if you study this information. And especially if you're using the pass first try strategy like we recommend, you'll know how ready it is that you are. If you're scoring everything correctly and you know the stuff and you're confident about it, it's going to become very obvious going through all of our study tools and our pass first try strategy. It's designed to do that. To throw these other stats up here, let's see if this is any different. A little bit higher for repeat test takers on online. Repeat test takers online, it is a 35% pass rate. So I guess a little bit more people, slightly more people are getting their act together in the online course when they go back to take the exam a second time. Look, you can take this exam as many times as you need to. The state exam, you can take it 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. It's going to cost you $36 or so, whatever they're currently charging for it, every time you go to take it. But more importantly, it's going to cost you time. That's the big expense. It's not the $36 every time you go to here to take this. It's the time. And not just the 3 hours of taking the exam, but all the time you're devoting into studying and practicing and understanding this information before that. So if you want to bypass having to take this exam multiple times, stick around. We're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we're talking about our pass first try strategy.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christopher. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday. If you're not yet subscribed, hit that bell icon so you get notifications whenever we go live, and we've got new content to help you better understand the real estate industry. So we're just talking about pass rates and really about how statistically there's not really a huge difference between taking it in the online state exam system versus the in-person state exam system. Yes, there are some more rules with the online state exam system, but as long as you're okay with those rules, you can get done with your exam a lot sooner than trying to schedule an in-person appointment. But either way, whatever you do, get yourself an appointment. If you're already enrolled in a course, make sure you get your fingerprints done and your application done so that way you can schedule your state exam. If you need the full breakdown of the steps That's at licensefl.com. Licensefl.com if you need the application, fingerprints, anything, scheduling your state exam. We've got the links to all that at licensefl. That's licensefl, like Florida.com. But what I want to talk about next is the pass first try strategy. The elusive, or what seems to be elusive, passing on your first try. Why does it seem elusive? Well, I just threw the stats up here that said about half the people do this and the other half of people don't. So what side of the coin is it that you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side of the coin that passes their exam in the first try, or that has to take the exam a few times before they pass it? Now, if you've already taken the exam and you haven't passed on your first try, the cards aren't any more stacked against you. The deck isn't any more stacked against you. There's not forces trying to make it even more difficult for you to pass the exam. So hang in there. You could do this. Just because you don't pass your exam on the first try doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Doesn't mean that you can't practice real estate. It doesn't even mean that you're not going to be good or bad in real estate. This has no indication of your success in real estate. If you've already taken all or part of the pre-licensing course, you might already know this, that the pre-licensing course, the one that's required to get your real estate license, it doesn't really focus on things you thought you might learn about taking this course. It focuses on a lot of laws and rules and things that people typically aren't the most interested in, but it's what the Florida Real Estate Commission is most interested in you knowing and understanding. These laws and rules that are designed to protect the public. That's what they're concerned with. So you not passing this exam on your first try doesn't mean that you're not going to be great at assisting buyers and sellers. It just means that you didn't study the laws and rules and the stuff you learned in your pre-licensing course enough to be able to pass it, to be able to get at least 70 or 75 of those questions right, depending on if you're taking the end of course or state exam. So the pass first try strategy, as I said, we like to keep things simple here. And this strategy is designed with simplicity in mind. 4 steps, that's it, just 4 things, 4 steps that you travel through as you're preparing to pass your exam, hopefully on your first try, or if you've already taken it, on your next try. Number 1, you have to complete what's required by the Florida Real Estate Commission of learning the information. They won't let you take the exam unless you take the required pre-licensing course, or if you are like an attorney in good standing in the Florida bar, or you have a degree in real estate, then you might have an exemption. But for the rest of us, we've got to learn the information. We've got to take the pre-licensing course, which is going to teach us the information that's going to be tested on the exam. Sounds easy enough. Now the problem is there's a lot of information that's taught in this pre-licensing course. And some of that information, actually quite a bit of it, isn't too important for your exam. Now what do I mean? Well, look, if we just threw a 600-page book at you and told you every last detail, every last word, every last sentence, every last letter in that book is important for your exam, you'd drive yourself crazy. Studying this information for years, I'm confident that I don't have every word memorized in our textbooks. And we've been using these with minor updates and variations over the years for years. So you would think we would know it word for word, line by line, but there's just too much information. So you expecting yourself as a student, as a learner, somebody going through this information for the first time, you expecting yourself to memorize and fully understand every last detail you learn in this course is completely unrealistic. And that's what challenges people most, I would say, for this pre-licensing course, is really first and foremost just knowing what to focus on. And this isn't something that we're doing as a school to try to make this more difficult. We're simply following the Florida Real Estate Commission regulations of what we need to teach you in this pre-licensing course. There's a syllabus, a detailed syllabus that the Florida Real Estate Commission gives us that outlines what we need to teach you, the topics that we need to cover in order for us to award you credit so you can take your state exam. So we have to cover all these topics, knowing that there are certain topics that are extremely important for your exam. while there's other topics that aren't too important for your exam. And we already have it broken up where we spend a lot of time on the informations that are important and not too much time on the information that isn't, but it's still a lot of information. It's a lot of stuff you got to take in, and a lot of stuff you got to keep track of and not forget. So step number 2 is to review or to reinforce along the way. And what it is that you want to review are the key points. Do not try to memorize everything. You're only going to make this more difficult for yourself because you're going to memorize irrelevant information. I promise you that. Not everything in your course is going to be tested on your exam. I could guarantee that because your exam's only going to be 100 questions, and there's no possible way they could test you on every topic in that course in just 100 questions. It would take thousands of questions for them to test you on every topic that's taught in that course. And they do have a bank of thousands of questions, but even among that rolling bank of questions they use for the state exam, there's still certain percentages that they use from certain sections. Like, for example, one of the most important topics of your course is learning about escrow and all the rules regarding escrow. And I could tell you why it's so important. It's a very easy explanation, and it'll make perfect sense when I explain it to you. It's because it's the number one reason why the Florida Real Estate Commission has to discipline licensees. The number one reason why the FREC has to discipline people is because of escrow. So what do you think is going to be really important on the exam? Escrow. It's not rocket science. But if you're not an expert in this field, it's going to seem like rocket science. And we're here to keep it simple. We don't want this to seem like rocket science because it's not. So we want to distill this down, make it simple, and again, focus on those key points. Focus on those points about escrow, those important things, not the little details here and there that aren't probably going to show up on your exam. Now, once you've been reviewing these key points, and also along the way, because there's a lot of content in the course, and as you progress through it, you'll start to forget the stuff you learned earlier on. So you want to reinforce that stuff you learned earlier on so you don't forget it, and then you move into step number 3 to test your knowledge. Now, how do you test your knowledge? With a test. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that step number 3 is actually taking the exam. And they're not following this process if that's the case, because then you're just really focusing on these things. You're learning the info, you're reviewing the key points, and then you're just going to go test yourself. But then what happens when you test yourself and then you wreck yourself? Because you realize, oh, wait a minute, I didn't actually know this stuff. Would you rather find out about that at the actual exam where you got to pay to go take it again? Or maybe in a practice exam or with some practice questions? Probably the practice exam and practice questions. So practice exams and practice questions are not meant for studying, they're meant for testing. It's a test and it's meant for testing. You shouldn't study test. Tests are not meant to study. Tests are designed for testing, not for studying. But they are a very important part of the studying process, because what these tests will do is they'll test you and they'll show you where you need to improve. Think of it as a diagnostic of telling you, hey, this section, you missed a lot of questions. So go back, don't just reread the questions. Go back and focus on the key points associated with those questions. Because the way these questions work on the exam is they're application-based. They're application-based where you take the concept from the course, the minor detail, the key point, and you now have to apply it in a scenario, in a situation, in a story. You have to understand how that key point that you memorized actually applies in this situation. That's the way most of the exam questions are set up. So it's a little getting used to the format of the questions of why you want to do these practice questions, but again, also to use it as a diagnostic to diagnose what you still need to study before you move into the last step of being confident and prepared. So our final step is to be confident and prepared, to make sure that you know that you know. Why? This exam's designed to make you second guess yourself. It's designed to make you think that you don't know. And if you don't know that you know, you'll think that you don't know, and a lot of times you'll second guess your instincts when your instincts were right. I can't tell you how many times I've graded exams, and this is after I've told the students not to do this, but I've gone and graded exams and see people that have changed their answers, or they had a right answer and they went and changed it. And I always tell people that. Don't change your answers because your instincts probably have it right. You start overthinking stuff, you start thinking of stuff outside the course, you start breaking all the rules that we cover in our Secrets of the Exam course, and that's where you end up second guessing yourself, all because really this thing right here, that you're not confident that you know that information. So if you know that you're not confident, be honest with yourself and backtrack yourself up in this process. Move back into reviewing the key points. Then proceed to test your knowledge. You keep messing up here, keep going back here. Keep going back to review the key points, then going in to test your knowledge, and rinse and repeat until you start to feel confident and prepared. And we've got a lot of great study tools that break this all down. Our entire pass first try strategy, we've built study tools that are designed to complement this entire process. And it starts out with taking our Secrets of the Exam course. The Secrets of the Exam is really meant to pull back the veil of what this exam is really like, how it's structured, what you need to know to be in the right state of mind when you're studying and taking this exam to be able to pass it on your first try. So what are all the tips and tricks that you could use specifically for this exam? And there's some tricks in there that are literally specific to this exam only, not just all exams. So that's in the Secrets of the Real Estate Exam. Our MP3 auto review is our go-to for reviewing the key points. Our question simulator, that's our go-to for testing your knowledge. It gives you explanations right away, so you don't have to go hunting back in your courses and your textbooks to go find that information. It's going to give you a detailed explanation and breakdown of the question right then and there after every question that you answer. And then our weekend prep recording, that's the thing I would recommend to really help you be confident and prepared. That really is a confidence builder type of course that's going to really help you know and focus on what's truly important for the exam. And it comes with a whole interactive workbook. So this is something we have been refining for years. That's always been our goal, to get people to pass their exam on the first try. And then one day we said, all right, well, let's give them a recipe. Let's give them steps to follow. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And we didn't just come up with this right away as soon as we opened doors here at the Tampa School of Real Estate. We really didn't have this official pass first try strategy until many years later, after many thousands of students that we helped through this licensing process, and we saw firsthand what are the mistakes that people commonly make when they're studying for this exam? What are the mistakes they're making as they're reviewing the information? What are the mistakes that they're making that are holding them back from not only passing the exam on the first try, but for those of them that have already taken the exam, how are they able to overcome not passing the exam to get to passing it so they can move on and start their career with their dreams? And it's so important to us because this gets in the way of so many people's dreams. And I don't say that to sound cliche, but it's so true. And all of us here at Tampa School of Real Estate don't believe that this process should be a reason why you can't practice real estate. This exam is passable. You can pass this exam. You can do it. You don't need to be smart. You don't have to have high intelligence. This is not a test of your IQ. This is not a test of how good of a test taker you are. This is not a test of really anything other than, can you apply the rules that you learn about in your pre-licensing course? Can you apply them in the scenarios they're presenting to you on the exam? And this is the technical steps of what you've got to do to put yourself in the right state of mind, the right situation to where you're confident and prepared that you know this information, you've tested it, you've reviewed it, you've learned it, you've checked off all your requirements. And that's the things that we recommend to do to get you to pass your exam on the first try. Is it a guarantee you'll pass on the first try? No. The FREC actually forbids us. They prohibit us from guaranteeing that you'll pass the exam. I don't know exactly why, but that is how the law reads, that we are prohibited from guaranteeing that you'll pass the exam. And not just us, but all real estate schools. So this isn't a guarantee. And really, even if we could, even if they would allow us to guarantee you would pass the exam, we cannot guarantee you will pass the exam. Only you can guarantee that you will pass the exam. We could give you the tools, the strategies, the ideas, but you're the one that's got to take them across the finish line. You're the one that's got to go knock it out of the park on that exam. This is just what we recommend that you do beforehand to get yourself prepared, so that way when you go do sit down for that final moment to take your exam, that you go knock out of the park, that you go score 100%, although you'll never actually even know what your score is. You'll just know that you pass. If you don't pass, then they let you know your score so you know how close you are, but if you do pass, you never even find out what your score is. So that is the pass first try strategy. If you're trying to pass your exam and you've been struggling, check out passfirsttry.com. We've got demos of all these tools on there. If you've got specific questions, call us up, 813-333-2676. That's 813-333-2676. We have advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way that we can. If you've already taken the exam, give us a call. You could send us an image of your exam report from the State Testing Center. We could help you diagnose, create a plan of how to overcome this exam and get it passed. So wherever it is that you're at, let us help you. Let us help get you across the finish line and get you passing this exam. If you're getting ready to sign up for a pre-licensing course, we've got some really great bundle offers if you sign up for our passfirsttry.com study tools along with your course. So definitely check that out. That's all at passfirsttry.com, or you can call us at 813-333-2676. We want to help you guys achieve your dream real estate career. Again, 813-333-2676. That's all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on Friday for State of Real Estate. Hey, so if you're thinking about starting a real estate career, it could feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Look, that's completely understandable. That's why we're here to help. If you haven't already, check out our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success, or if you don't even know where to begin, give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that we can. Our phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Give us a call. We're the Tampa School of Real Estate.
Do you want a career that allows you to be in control? With a career in real estate, you'll get to call the shots. Whether you're looking at starting part-time or want to become the next top agent, a career in real estate makes it possible. Find out what it takes at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.